in Kansas City and beyond. This is No Anywhere. That's right, no double angle here. The one and only No Jumbo Angle. And this is Today in Politics. Today in Politics. Today's topic is the Judicial Code of Conduct for federal judges. And part of what I'm going to talk about with that. On today's date is October 16th, 2025. Until I started looking into the misconduct part of my lawsuit against Judge Bo, I didn't realize the extent of the nature of the misconduct. In that, did you know that a federal judge, and I'm sure the same under the Code of Conduct for state court judges as well, I know about that, that there are not to have contact with parties in the case or in a lawsuit, rather, while it is active in their courtroom and in it is very serious Judicial Code of Conduct violation. And for a Judge Bo and federal judge and of his caliber to simply say he didn't know is a bunch of malarkey, if I ever heard it. Because, see, he did do know the Judicial Code of Conduct because he doesn't have a past history of speaking to the media, for example, on his past cases, now doesn't he? That have been brought before his courtroom. And what is the difference that he would start now because I'm famous or whatever, and speaking to the public about my lawsuits that had been brought before his courtroom, other than attempt to publicly humiliate me because I have been representing myself in his courtroom, and this is the lack of complete judicial dignity and part of what I can claim as damages now by Judge Bo. As a matter of fact, clear absence of all jurisdiction basically means to me is that Judge Bo had acted without authority over the subject matter of my lawsuits because his courtroom is designated for multi-district litigation and class actions, and the majority of my lawsuits were not class actions because while I might have had multiple defendants, a pro se plaintiff is prohibited from filing class actions in the Western District of Missouri and actually in the federal court. You see, that's a federal rule. I'll get to that further. So fundamentally, Judge Bo had no authority in which to hear my case on those grounds. In the part that I just proved, that his judicial immunity doesn't apply to cases where clear absence of all jurisdiction is met. See, to make this clearer, this would be like a probate court judge hearing a criminal case in a legal context of what I'm trying to say, because it is the wrong courtroom that had been assigned to my lawsuit to begin with, and relevance of how my past lawsuits can be evidence against Judge Bo. Now, does that make sense? So, on the matter of clear absence of all jurisdiction, I'd ask Mr. Google, does basically I ask that are pro se prohibited from filing class action rules, basically. And Mr. Google's survey says pro se litigants are prohibited from filing class actions because representing others, even in class actions, constitutes the unauthorized practice of law. Under rules like the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 23, a class representative must fairly and adequately protect the interests of the class. Courts have determined that a person representing themselves pro se cannot adequately represent a group of others, and a class action lawsuit cannot be brought by a non-attorney. So I was right and wrong. It was a federal rule, not necessarily a local rule, that kept me from filing a class actions. Now this type of lawsuit that I can file against Judge Bo actually be a federal injunction, because there's not much I can do in regards to any sort of financial relief, since financial claims are essentially barred from getting any money from a federal judge. I didn't know that. The next best course of action is to get declaratory relief, which is where you ask a court to determine the unconstitutionality of a judge's actions, or file for a federal, so that I can file for a federal injunction. So, I ask it all, Mr. Google, what is the legal definition of seeking declaratory relief in federal court? And Mr. Google's survey says seeking declaratory relief in a federal court is a legal request for a court to officially declare the rights, duties, or legal status of parties in a dispute without awarding damages or other specific actions. It allows a party to seek a judgment that clarifies legal obligations, rights, often before a full lawsuit or damages or injunctions is necessary. To obtain this, a plaintiff must show actual controversy, meaning there is substantial and immediate dispute with adverse parties that the court can actually resolve. So that this tells me I have to file for this declaratory relief against Judge Bo before I can file for my injunction against Judge Bo. And well, that makes sense to me. So I asked Mr. Google this: what is the legal definition of a federal injunction, and how does it apply against a federal judge? And Mr. Google's survey says a federal injunction. I need a water break. Thought I could go without water. Hey, a federal injunction is a court order directing a party to either do or stop doing a specific action, used when monetary award is insufficient. Federal judges can be bound by injunctions issued against them, particularly regarding their official actions, through contempt of court for failing to comply with the higher court's order or a court's own orders in their cases. So I clearly have more writing to do and more work to do to get it right instead of filing for yet another wrong attempt at a lawsuit and have it be dismissed again by another judge and have all that work gone to waste. I'm asking Mr. Google the right questions, it would appear now. So I'm glad I put a pause on Judge Bo's case for now and save myself yet more aggravation and grief with the courts over injustice I'm getting handed to me. Lots and lots of things to ponder upon, as they say. This has been Today in Politics with Noel Jumbo Inkle. Thanks for watching and listening to me right away. Have a good day.